one of the local TV stations that received one of the ransom notes that Savannah Guthrie stated they believed to have been real. And they were reporting that on February 11th, either Nancy and the FBI put a small amount of money in that Bitcoin account along with a message they were ready to talk. So clearly they were responding to one of those notes. And after February 11th, the station is now reporting that everything has gone silent. There was no further communication indicating that something tragic might have happened at that point.
They never communicated
Does
with
that
anybody.
lend any credibility to the fact that whoever was sending that request, I know that Savannah Guthrie said she believed that it was a legitimate ransom note. But does anybody else, do authorities believe, does the FBI believe it was legitimate? And does that indicate it might have been?
Yes, I think that it was in fact the FBI that probably, I should say probably, but sources are that there was some belief among law enforcement that that note was legitimate, and therefore that's why they responded to it. But I think, sadly, that by the time they responded, something had happened because they never came back with any more messages.
The sheriff, in the meantime, has found himself in more hot water. He was due to submit.
I don't understand why people think this Bitcoin is real or the ransom was real. They never even got a reply back from the person that they believed that made the ransom legitimate. For whomever this person was, they never communicated with the Guthrie family. So I don't get it. What it do, guys? It's your boy, the Juice. My name is Troy Bradshaw. And yeah, I just wanted to come out and have a small discussion here surrounding the Guthrie case. Kind of three things for the most part I wanted to talk about today, maybe four to be exact. The perp, the ransom, Sheriff Nanos, and what happened today. We'll get there. I was out visiting and then I got approached. I made contact with a sheriff today because we were outside Nancy's today, and yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm gonna finish the rest of this quick video because it kind of covers everything that I want to talk about tonight. Don't really have too many updates. Don't really have too much to cover and kind of go over, but I don't really understand what happened in the board meeting. I'm not too familiar with those. So if anybody can enlighten me, feel free to let me know in the chat. I don't really know what took place in that board meeting. I didn't really hear much on Nanos. I heard a few people, got a chance to listen while I was at work, and I heard a few people saying something in that meeting, but I did not hear anything from the actual board, so I thought that was interesting.
Some answers to a probe. This is about his application to work in Pima County's Sheriff's Department decades ago. But there was some evidence that he had lied in his application about his work experience. What's happening with that investigation into him, and might he be ousted?
The actual board.
Well, it wasn't just that he had lied about his work experience. There was a recent lawsuit in which he was under oath where he lied about his work experience. He also is being sort of raked over the coals here, certainly by local media and also some national media, about the fact that he actually beat up a suspect who was handcuffed, and that suspect had to be taken to the hospital. And he also is being, and he was suspended for 15 days following that incident. There was also a suspension related to him lying about having stopped someone when they finally saw the footage that he had in fact stopped that person. And he got suspended for that, and also for using vile language towards a woman during his working hours. So there's a lot of things piling up against him. What we're waiting for is today he is answering a bunch of questions asked by the Board of Supervisors pursuant to a deal that they've struck. And we're waiting to hear what those answers are. And hopefully tomorrow we'll have more on that. The board meeting is still ongoing, but we have a very good source who's prepared on our show before, on your show before, to come on with us and explain what Sheriff Nanos had to say about those allegations of perjury and other things.
It's worth noting all those allegations of behavior, which is unbelievable. They all happened, they're not recent, correct?
Well, as far as we know, these were suspensions. I mean, since he's come to Pima County, We don't know what goes on, but he's moved up through the ranks, and he's the
Right,
sheriff
but
now.
those allegations,
Yes.
those were all decades ago. But as you point out, we don't know what might have happened in his time. It's just hard to believe that somebody like this is the sheriff of Pima County with
Amen.
a history like that, which I guess is why the Board of Supervisors is taking this all so seriously. And again, no indication that, at this point in time, 80 days later, that removing him is going to make any difference on the case. Listen, you have covered so many cases like this also for decades. And in your new book, you're taking us behind the scenes of these major criminal cases that you've covered and the role that the media plays in them. You're also disclosing a lot of pretty high-profile information about these cases.
That's right. I'm telling you information that nobody will tell you. You've covered cases like this. Actually, we covered one together. There are 4 cases in the book, and I'm taking you behind the curtain and then behind that curtain where you're going to get to see what really goes on. I was starting, the first case is the Holly Bobo case, which we actually did together when we were at ABC. And during that case, I had a chance to talk to that family about the 3 years they waited for.
What is Sheriff Nanos hiding? What possibly is he trying to cover up? We know his history. We already understand and we're aware that he's made mistakes. But what is he hiding? My biggest question that I can ask him over and over again is what is making him decline all help? Here we are, another setback, guys. Here we go, another setback. Now we're going to wait even longer for DNA results. I keep saying this. I think that I'm sure that lab knew their limitations. I'm sure that they made sure that Sheriff Nanos was aware of that. But like I was saying earlier, I don't know if anybody heard me outside Nancy's today, but the FBI is driving this train. I don't even know what part the sheriff department is going to play in this anymore. I mean, whatever they had that they were working on is out of their hands at this point. I mean, I know they still have the detectives that are involved because I think there were more of those than the FBI. I think we only had 1 FBI agent in there and 4 detectives. I can't recall, but yeah, I think it's pretty much for the most part all in the FBI's hands at this point. They got to do some type of advanced technology, which we got to hope and pray, is going to lead us up to the perp. And then we also have the mixed DNA that has to be unmixed, and then they work a genealogy from there, I'm assuming. But it seems like this is going to be a process before we could get Sheriff Nanos out of here. Like I said, I knew it was going to take a long time. And then we got to, obviously, he has to be put on a ballot along with other people that could be eligible for becoming the next sheriff. But it just sounds like it's going to be a long process. 857... I believe was the one who had posted the board meeting. So I was kind of trying to figure out at what point they were covering anything about Nanos, but I didn't really see much, which was kind of crazy to me. Did he postpone? What happened exactly? Like, is he, did he just not show up? Did they say anything? Like, what's happening moving forward? I'm so confused with the whole meeting thing. By the way, big welcome Sky, big welcome Be the Difference, Alicia, big welcomes. Hello guys, thanks for tuning in here tonight. I know it's super late. Don, welcome. Super late, 2 a.m. I was just trying to figure out, I was just kind of gathering my thoughts before I started, and just wanted to show a couple videos. I was trying to get a lot of things together because I'm probably not going to be on very long. I just wanted to have a small discussion and play a video actually for you guys. It's actually a pretty interesting video by Monk Intrigue, and a lot of you guys may have seen it already, but hopefully my mic sounds all right. We were having trouble with the mic out at Nancy's today too, so hopefully the mic's okay. Family and sheriff know way more. Yeah, another thing that has yet to be confirmed is the fact that there's a lot of word that sheriff and Tommaso may be friends. However, I don't know. I haven't heard that through a reliable source, so I don't know if that's true at all. I've heard them being gambling buddies, and then I've also heard that they were. I can't remember. There was something else that somebody had mentioned that they did together, but nothing confirmed beyond that. So we don't even know. Drippy Jaguar says he submitted his response in writing 20 minutes before the start of the meeting. It will be addressed at the next meeting. Yeah, so that's what I'm hearing. Word around town is we're pretty much going to be just waiting for a next meeting. Not only that, I feel like this guy, I don't know if it's the same thing applies because it's like a courtroom for the most part. He could also file a motion to, postpone for another meeting. He could keep prolonging this somehow, some way. Are they going to get him out of office is the big question. I can't call it right now. I really can't. But if you ask me, yeah, he got to go. I was in Walmart earlier and I had ran into a TPD officer, Tucson Police Department. He wasn't, he's not in the sheriff department at all. And I was asking him if he felt like Nanos should be booted out. Like, should he resign? And he didn't want to say it and be straightforward. So he said, I think everyone in the department deserves to be happy. And I was like, you know what? Well said. Well said. His leadership and his role is a big reflection of the community. He's caused so much ruckus and made so much of a mess. I don't even know if it could even be fixed at this point. I just hope, I hope that we don't find out that somehow, some way, Sheriff Nanos has something to do with this. Or, because I think if he did, the only thing that would lead me to believe that is the fact that he may just be trying to help somebody out. Like he's trying to cover this up for someone. My question would be, if the FBI wasn't involved, and this is just a thought. If they weren't involved, and let's just say that DNA went to Florida, and then, obviously they weren't able to figure out, obviously they practice under a certain scope, and them finding anything, in that DNA, obviously was beyond their scope of practice in that facility. But I'm saying, what if this happened and the FBI wasn't involved? Does it just go under the rug and they have to try to find another way? Because that's kind of odd to me, and I wonder how many times this has happened. So I'm really questioning that right now, and I don't know why I'm questioning it so much, but I'm just wondering if the FBI wasn't involved, would they reach out to the FBI? Would they try to get some type of DNA sent sent somewhere else, or would it just go under the rug? I really don't have faith in none of the DNAs, though. That's in both situations that are happening right now. I'm not feeling it. Nanos gave Tucson a bad name, yeah, for sure, and it's gonna take us a while to get be looked at in a good way as a city. Desert Diamond. That's actually a casino out here. I don't know where you're referring to though. Anyways, I had a real interesting video, and I wanted to play this just real quick. It's a video with Mr. Monk and Tree. I thought it was a pretty good video by him. And he's talking about the perp, but he's got it in like this, I can't remember what you call it. Let's just call it X-ray because I can't remember the name right now. So let me play this clip real quick because it's pretty cool. And it kind of gives you a different perspective of the perp. Although it's the real perp, it's real time. It just kind of gives you, it's really focusing on the eyes. Let's just play it.
Dare you think it's possible? But I feel I have proof that this is the case, that the perp's sole attention is actually not that security gate, but on the camera the moment he steps onto that porch. Now, to first strengthen the point I'm about to make, okay, I'd like you guys to look at this picture again as provided by the FBI, and I think we understand immediately that the infrared is causing that pupil to reflect white. This is basically the infrared version of the infamous red eye effect that people would get when they used flash photos, which destroyed many a memory. This new infrared version, the official technical term for it is the bright pupil effect, named by the great scientist Captain Obvious. So going back to the initial photo, because if you've never tried this before, I'd advise you to clean up your floor right now because your jaws are about to drop onto it. Knowing now what the bright pupil effect is, let's invert. Now, where do you think he is looking at now? Huh, AI? If we watch this video completely inverted, you can now better follow his line of sight. And this can be up for debate, okay? The moment he stepped onto that porch, I think his pupil was targeting that door camera from the start. His thoughts and attention.
You could tell he's on it. You could tell he's thinking about something too. But just look at the eyes. I just wanted y'all to see the eyes. I mean, because how you can see the eyes is not the same way you see it, you know, in actual like real time without it being converted over to this particular scene. So I just thought it was quite interesting the way he
was on
converted it over to look like this, focusing on mainly the eyes and the lips.
Targeting.
But any of us could have did this, right?
From
But he's obviously looking for something. Right now, I can tell the perp, upon approach to that door, he's using his peripheral vision. And at this point, he sees the ring light. He actually sees something in his peripheral vision. And then
the start, his thoughts and attention.
Boom, he looks right at it. And then Monk mentions the fact that he really doesn't blink. This is like the only time he blinks. And then he doesn't, it's like he never blinks again. He was determined, he was focused. It's like he knew what he wanted to do.
Doorbell camera, which I feel changes the whole vibe from fumbling buffoon to something more diabolical, okay? So here is a picture of my doorbell camera. That small little circle at the top is the wide angle lens. The lens placement is not a secret. We want you to know that our doorbell camera is recording you. And with his little bite light, okay, all he has to do is just flash it for a second and he will be able to shine where it exactly is. And here's what Nancy's Nest camera would look like. And Nest makes it even more obvious where that lens is. So I do feel fairly confident that the perp's eyes were mainly trained on that doorbell camera from the beginning, simply because on that pitch black Arizona porch, even without a bite light. Once motion is detected by that doorbell camera, it's lighting up like Christmas. Mine's looks like a damn Black Widow staring at you, judging you with infrared eyes. Now let's all watch the initial approach again at regular speed and color. Now remember, in previous videos I said that there was no reason for this porch video to exist if the back doors were propped open, unless something changed to the plans from within inside that house. Because seriously, why are you messing with the front door? Let's just say you had just destroyed a couple of those infrared spiders on the right side of the property already, which they did, then you definitely know that there's another infrared spider at the front door. Just don't be in front of it. I feel that this crotch holster guy, the more I watch his shenanigans, the more I'm getting convinced that this is all a put on, leaning towards a performance to create a narrative, aka staged. If we are to believe that his sole focus,
I feel like if these guys were, I don't know why I feel like if this was staged, because I feel like there are certain, certain things that have happened in this entire crime from what we know that's factual. There are certain things that point out the fact that it's staged, but I don't know if this particular part was staged. I can't wrap my finger around that just yet.
On that doorbell camera that whole time, then what the hell is this move now? I'm about to knock and then suddenly noticing the camera. It just looks awkward now. If we know he had his eyes directly on those infrared lights just a moment ago, coupling this with his inability to cover up the world's tiniest lens, I mean, look at this part again. He is resting his right hand on that doorbell camera. Am I not right? Why is he doing this? If he had just moved his hand just a little lower, right? Just a little lower, he would cover up that entire lens easily, which leads me to believe that he was not attempting to block the camera. I think he was attempting to dislodge it with one hand on top, and then, the bottom is attempting to find maybe a crevice, a gap to yank on. And that's what I'm coming to believe that he is attempting to do, or leading us to believe he is doing.
By the way, guys, there was somebody who killed themselves not too far from Nancy's house. I don't think it's related at all, but there was somebody not too far from Nancy's dad killed his wife and killed himself after that. So killed his wife, offed himself. Let's say offed himself. I guess that's for a better word. Nancy still hasn't been found. No, Scott, not at all. Desiree, big welcomes, by the way. Chelsea, welcome. Staged or real? I'm saying staged, but I think there's certain things that weren't staged. But I don't think that this approach that we see in from this actual perp here, I don't think that this was staged, because it just didn't seem like he was aware of where the Ring camera was. But I mean, the fact that there like certain things that point out staged to me tells me that I don't know why I feel like law enforcement could somehow be involved, just because I feel like they're the only ones that would know exactly what to do, certain things to consider. That's the only reason why it makes me feel like Nanos is trying to cover up for somebody that he knows that is involved with this. And I don't know why I feel that way, but I just don't understand what Nanos is doing. I really don't. I don't understand the fact why he didn't want any help. I just keep going back to the same old question. And every time I ask myself that question, it makes no sense. It's tough. It's really tough.
Because like I mentioned before, there is no way this guy is thinking of breaching that security gate. So why is he there? And of course, that building a nest on a nest situation just boggled all our minds. Okay, it's an act.
Yeah, the perp definitely looks high. He looks high on something. When you look at the eyes, I mean, like, the dude did not blink one time. Let's go back just real quick. He did not blink. He only blinked like when he was approaching the ring light or the door, and then after that, he just doesn't blink.
This can be up for debate. Okay, the moment he stepped onto that porch, I think his pupil was targeting that door camera from the start. His thoughts and attention was on that Nest doorbell camera, which I feel changes the whole vibe from fumbling buffoon to something more diabolical. Okay, so here is a picture.
Okay, I think Monk points it out.
This guy's mental capacity, but if it's all premeditated, look this way while I move this way, you know, kind of red herring. And the FBI has really no leads, no beads on this guy, then how dumb is he really, right? That's a question that many people have posed. I'm posing it again. So I'm really leaning more these days that this was all staged, that this culprit or culprits have greatly manifested this entire thing for all of us to watch. Okay, so if his attention was always on that camera, then he wanted to be seen by this camera. So let's put ourselves in the culprit's shoes, okay? Imagine if you cooked up a plan to be seen by this camera. And of course, you do not want to be known, okay? So yeah, you wear a mask. A ski mask is a good option, but your eyes are exposed. So
that's what tells me this thing wasn't really all that thought through, because if they would have just broken through the back, and that's what kind of gives it away for me. That tells me that the perp didn't go through the back just yet when we seen this video. I think he was just arriving when he approached where the ring camera was. And I only say that because someone who does it, the only way for him to not be seen on the ring camera is for him to go through the house and out that front door. And he could reach out from the door. I'm sure it's reachable from that door. It's not the biggest area. It just looks bigger on camera. But that would be the only way. I don't know if you guys got any other ideas, but the only way, how would you remove that ring camera without being seen? You know, he could have backed up, you know, into the you know, the door with his back turned, so that way he doesn't show his face at all. That could be another way. But I mean, to not be seen whatsoever, I think he would have had to be coming through the, you know, from somewhere inside of the house to the front door, and probably reached out and then dismantled it like that. But I don't know. That's just my thought.
what do you do? Is that why those eyes appeared so unnaturally perky with the movements of an old man? Because most likely, if the footage ever does come out and it's plastered everywhere like how it is right now, it's more likely that this perpetrator thought about all this. And that person should know that it's more than likely that key people in the case or in his orbit would recognize those eyes. And speaking of those eyes, it's even more apparent in the inverted footage that this guy is wide-eyed, deer in the headlights the whole time. Okay, he never blinks. He never even makes any natural type of eye movement, right? Just bugged out the whole time.
This guy was definitely probably on drugs.
This mofo never ever blinks in this entire video until I'm pointing it out right now. You are never going to unsee it again going forward. I even gave my theories before on why I feel his eyes look so unnatural, and I did it in the most subtle way. And some people have commented that they believe there's some fake eye trickery underneath that mask. And trust me, I also really wanted to believe that this is the case, that there was an alternative to creating that white pupil effect while actually hiding the eyes with possibly fake ones, like through a see-through mask with realistic eyes painted on or something. But I did a little bit of research, and that actually would be highly unlikely, okay? Because this phenomenon, you know, the white pupil eye thing phenomenon, is caused by the infrared lights actually going into your pupil and bouncing back. And this is with actual human eyes. So you got glass eyes or even prosthetic eyes. They won't give the same effect. Now, here's something else I've noticed about those darn eyes that I've lost sleep over, so I want you to lose some sleep over as well. I'm finding it more and more eerie that this guy's eyes, not only do they never blink, they never relax or even squint, but that his iris and his pupil, they never move. They never shift. They're always stationary, right in the middle, just meaning he's never doing this. Nothing. Just smack dab in the middle. And I try to make sense of it.
Man, well said,
maybe
too.
It's because his only source of light is that bite light in his mouth. And it's pitch black, so he's just wide-eyed like that. But I still feel you're going to look around just a tad or something, squint a little. But he doesn't. Anyways, let's just leave it at that. Those eyes are damn odd. And you guys need to help me with this. I'm gonna leave you guys with something that I know a lot of you believe in, which I have always been skeptical of since the beginning, and that is that wrist tattoo. Okay, so first off, I feel we need to discard all this AI.
So he's gonna point out the fact that because of this AI has been screwing us, guys. I'm gonna be honest. This tattoo, once he just did this, I felt like it wasn't a tattoo anymore. He kind of just killed that theory for me. So tell me what y'all think. I don't think it's a tattoo either, but
generated colors and stuff, and let's just stick with what the FBI gives us, and I do feel we'll be better off for it. Now, I've analyzed this supposed tattoo before in a past video, but even since then, you know, I've remained on the fence about it. I offered a guess that if it was a tattoo, it looked to me that it was the top part of Texas. But ever since then, I've only become more convinced that it's not a tattoo. And here is why, okay? So we can safely assume that this guy is not mixing and matching his gloves in terms of size. They're all coming from the same box. And he's wearing gloves that do appear just a tad larger than his hands and his fingers are, and possibly he's layering two gloves together. Okay, so in general, he does appear to have doubled up on everything that he's wearing to hide his frame, okay? Just look at this clip where his left hand is very active, fondling the bottom of the camera.
Does anyone in the chat wear contacts? Good question. I don't know what you're leaning toward in regards to that question, but Perp could have had on contacts, though. Speaking of contacts, I thought about that, too. You kind of just reminded me of that.
You can see that the glove extends well beyond into his sweater sleeve. If they're the same size, then the right hand should be just as tucked under and as deep. Now, here's the frame of the tattoo that we've all seen. But have you seen this clip scrubbed slowly backward?
Cali Girl on fire. I will show you exactly what I'm talking about in just a sec.
And forward, because that whole portion where the tattoo is supposed to be, from what I can see, is still the glove, and I'm convinced of it, and I'm not here to convince anybody else, okay? I'm just here to point out what I see. So, however, you guys do need to know that I did very well in art class, and if you ask me, that is a
you know what, now rethinking it, he could be wrong. He could be wrong, but he thinks it's the crevice of the glove, because the glove obviously has crevices on it. But I see another crevice over there, but it's very hard to tell with the shadows that are there. So that AI enhancement may have helped, but I don't know. It's
because that whole
the glove does go back. It does go past the wrist.
Is still
because he explains on the other side. If you look at the other side, so this is the left hand where we don't see anything, no tattoo, no nothing. You notice the glove goes all the way to the sleeve. So that being said, I would only assume that the other hand is the same way, but You know, and not only that, yeah, he's moving this hand a lot. He's doing more with that hand than he is the other. That other hand is just kind of stationary, doing its own thing. And a lot of us argue whether or not he had something wrong with the hand, because it kind of just stays in a slight clinch, or however you would phrase it. So going on to the other side, you know, he's assuming that the glove is the same way, which would be covering the entire wrist all the way up to the sleeve. But we all know gloves don't usually go that far. I wear gloves every day at work, and they usually stop about pretty much close to where his sleeve is at. So I'm only assuming at this point, because he's reaching, it's pulling the jacket back, and then it may be at one point in time exposing that tattoo. But
that whole portion,
it's questionable, but I see a shadow going all the way down, and that's the thing for me that kind of makes it more of a tattoo instead of the glove, because of that shadow that's there. And if you see the shadow here, it's literally following his arm all the way down into the sleeve, and that's what's confusing me. It's literally going all the way down, and it's a whole shadow right off in there. So it's tough. It's tough to call it, but I mean, through AI, I think that was the only AI that might have just been more sufficient than it was when we used the AI on the actual perp. Well, as far as the face, it's a tough one. That's a tough one, but it does still look like a tat to me. And then as it goes on, there's other shadows that kind of show up. There's a shadow like right in here, pretty tough to see on stream.
Supposed to be from what I can see,
but the shadow gets a little bigger as it moves right in here. So I guess I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna agree. It's still a tattoo, because his sleeve must be getting pulled back more somehow, some way. There's no way the gloves go all the way up to the elbow. Although they have gloves like that, but those don't seem like those type of gloves.
Is still the glove, and I'm convinced of it. And I'm not here to convince anybody else, okay? I'm just here to point out what I see. So, however, you guys do need to know that I did very well in art class. And if you ask me, that is a form shadow. So I happen to believe that we're looking at just more glove. And even if you happen to believe that we are seeing his skin, I will say that you are still looking at more form shadow on his skin. For me, at least. Not here to argue, just here to point things out. So
it's a possibility, man. Shout out to Monk Intrigue, man. He's always got interesting videos to take a look at. Monk Intrigue himself and his cat. Everybody has a cat. You guys are making me want to get a cat, since everybody has a cat. I know one thing a cat is good for is when you have mouse in your house. So maybe just in case I get some mice in my house one of these days, I'll make sure I get a cat for that very reason. Anyways, there was a
from what?
A person right near Nancy's house, 461 East Skyline. You could do it if you want to. Check it out if you want to. I was looking at it earlier, and I believe reports show authorities said a man apparently shot his girlfriend to death before taking his own life in a Catalina Foothills apartment last week. Not to say it had anything to do or any relation to the Guthrie family at all. But on Monday, the sheriff's department identified the two people found dead as Andrew Mora and Nicole Aramas, both 27, at about 8:30 p.m. Thursday. Pima County Sheriff deputies responded to check welfare at a unit within the Skyline Gateway Apartments, 4601 East Skyline Drive. And it looks like that was near North Swan Road, forcing entry through a glass window near the door. The deputies then forced open a locked bedroom door and found Mora and Amaras, I believe, dead from gunshot wounds. Detectives found Walter's handgun in Mora's hand and bullet casing nearby prior to determining Mora killed Amaras before taking his own life. And then it goes on to say deputies attempted to make contact with the two earlier in the day after Amara's sister reported she had not heard from Nicole after trying to call her several times, court documents said. And I don't think it has anything to do with the Guthrie situation, but upon looking it up, it did look like it wasn't that far away. Not only that, it is in the foothills. So yeah, more crime in the foothills area, which is kind of sad to see. It looks like it's about 8 minutes from Nancy's house. I threw the address in there just to see how close it was. But it's more closer to Swan, which is still considered the foothills area. Crazy. Wanted to talk a little bit about what happened earlier today. I was out at Nancy's house, and when I was there, when I got there, there was no one around. There was no one. It was no. It's like it's been pretty dry. No one out there really besides me and Criminal Network. And as you can see clearly down the street right there, there's no one. There's no one at all down that road right there. So, I mean, just about within 10 minutes of me being there, I noticed a white truck. And for me, I'm pretty good with stuff like this, especially because where I grew up. And it appeared to me that it was an undercover. And as my girl passed by,
I can't tell.
Because she just had dropped me off, so I know I just got there. Probably not within even 5 minutes. There's an undercover sitting there watching me. Don't know if when I got there, a neighbor reported me and she didn't want me there. I know there have been plenty complaints within the neighborhood. I wanted to talk about this tonight because I think the next time we go to Nancy's, not to start anything, or I think it's time that I exercise my rights just a little bit, because I've been going quite often and I've never had an issue being somewhat on the road. I wasn't all the way on the street. I wasn't blocking traffic. I wasn't stopping traffic from, having to go around me. Realistically, no one's going to drive close to the side of the road anyways. So we're going to cover all of this tonight because we had some mic issues. I did elaborate on it a bit. But if you can see the side of the road, realistically, no one's going to drive this close to the road. So if I'm driving my car, let's just say the side of this arrow here is the side of my car. So realistically, no one's going to drive this close to the road. Realistically, someone who's driving on the road is going to be probably about here. And just to be more realistic and be on the more for sure side about this, maybe here. Which I was nowhere near outside or that far out. But what I felt like was these guys just wanted to make contact with me and find a reason to make contact with me. Don't know if they had any intentions by making contact with me or what. This is the second time they've got my information. I think at this point they know who I am. So I think moving forward, I will no longer give them that. I will probably request a supervisor next time. Shouts to the person who emailed me. She enlightened me. She gave me information. She kind of coached. We can't stand somewhat in the road or a little bit in the road, or have a tripod on the road.
It does sound a little funny. Kind of doing it with a stick right now.
Excuse the mic troubles. We had mic troubles
How does that
while
sound?
we
Sound
were
a little
out
better?
there, so it was unfortunate, but we were able to fix it, thank God.
Everybody keeps saying my sound is low. I don't know.
So I want to point this out here right now. There's a lady that's coming down right here. Notice, and no one noticed this at all. But once the lady got close, she was recording me, which is fine. I had no issue with that at all. I just didn't notice it at the time. But that lady back there, you can see as she's approaching and coming up to me, she's kind of gathering herself. She's, you know, the one thing that someone pointed out in chat was why she had a sweater on in hot weather. It's hot outside. If you wear a sweater in this weather, you plan on sweating. She definitely wasn't exercising. She was snooping around. So this might have been the neighbor who made the call.
It does sound like I'm still far. My sound is low. I don't know what it is.
Notice how she's walking too.
It does sound like I'm still far. Somebody just said my ear. You are low. Okay. Somebody just said my ear. There, it just went up. We're good. Too low. Sounds fine. You're echoing.
I don't know why my
I'm
chat
echoing
isn't
'cause I'm
showing up
listening
on
to
stream.
myself. Sorry about that. We're good though. We're good. We're good. Sounds bad. Oh no. Muffled.
I don't know if you guys can hear it better now that I'm on stream, but I'm gonna turn it up loud as it can go. And I know a lot of you guys couldn't hear me during this time, so I'm gonna kind of let y'all listen for a sound here. Once the sheriff pulls up on me, this undercover vehicle in that white truck over there honks to inform him of something. I don't know. Like, yeah, that's him. I don't know what he's indicating. Obviously, they're able to communicate through radio, so I don't understand why he would have honked. But I found that very odd.
Dang, the mic. I don't like that at all. Guys, we might be taking a walk down the road. That truck is kind of weirding me out, and I was trying to kind of get started so we can talk.
Yeah,
about
Mustang,
the
that
case.
is a good person I could reach out to, huh?
I'm really curious to see who's in that truck and what they're doing down there. Not that it's any of my business, but it's kind of odd. I've never seen that truck here before, and I'm not sure what that is exactly. It looks
So
like
at this point right now, I don't know if anybody can hear me, but let me know in chat if you can actually hear what I'm saying or make out what I'm saying here. At this point, I'm just kind of just curious about the truck because I've never seen that truck in the neighborhood at all. So it was just quite odd to me what the hell that truck was doing down there.
an undercover white truck to me, but it looks like also it could be a worker truck.
So notice the lady that's pulling up on me right now, she's recording. She's recording right now, for sure. But you're going to really see it as she's coming up right here. She's gathering herself, trying to cover her face up, which I don't mind. I don't know what all the extra stuff is about. Whatever. We'll look past this. It's fine. Who cares? But you notice her phone is turned. She starts to turn it, and then it's turned right toward me.
Can't hear you.
Literally, and then she's walking like as if she's, just kind of carrying her phone, but obviously you can't just be carrying it like that. It's quite odd. You're holding it up, making sure it's facing me, covering yourself at the same time. Is this the lady that made the call on me? I don't know.
God, man, this is killing me. Sound low, can't hear you. Killing me. Sound low, can't hear you. Hold on, guys.
So right there at this very moment right here, notice right here, you could tell, like, boom, she gives it away. She's recording me for sure. Don't know why, but you could just see it in her face. I'm like, what are you doing? Like what?
Hold on.
I didn't notice this until afterwards, that she was recording. She takes a look at me real quick. Like, does he see me? You know, does he know I'm up to something?
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
So there's my girl passing by. And right at this point, she lets me know, hey, yeah, that's an undercover car. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so they're here to scope me out, to try to see what I'm doing. At this point, I'm thinking these guys are trying to find a reason to make contact with me. Like, I think that's the only thing that they tried to do. Otherwise, I don't think they gave a damn about me being on the street at all. But they tried to make it an issue. And I think his hope was I was going to not comply and just do what he asked. And it would create a problem. So I'll fast forward a little bit. No, it's we don't need to. It's a really short video. So it looks like this guy is. This is the part where this is the part where the sheriff is getting ready to make contact with me. And you notice the lady's talking to the sheriff in the back. He mentioned something about that. Don't know if you guys can hear that part, but. I'm just introducing myself. So we're just getting ready to get started at this point.
Okay.
So he said, I'm obstructing the road by being on the road, that I can't be on the road, is what he's telling me at this point. So apparently what he's saying is I could cause a hazard and cause somebody else to shift onto the other side of the road and cause them to hit somebody. That's exactly what he just said.
No, I'm gonna go back.
So I scooted back. You notice when he asked me to scoot back, I had scooted my chair back. And so my chair is completely off of the pavement. And then the tripod is still slightly on the road just a little bit. And he tells me that I can't even have the tripod on the road just a little bit.
Oh, okay. So you're obstructing the thoroughfare.
Okay, boom. So I moved the chair back. I'm off the road. Still a problem.
So even like this, that's the. No, I'm gonna go back.
So you see me notice moving the camera over. I'm taking that off the road too.
We're usually kind of on the road when we're out.
Telling the cop we're usually kind of on the road. We never have any issues. How is it so that I've been coming here dang near a month? And beyond that, I didn't stream when I came around in the beginning. I just kind of sat back and I observed from day 2. And I'm not even going to elaborate on the thought that I just had. But yeah, we've been here. We haven't had any issues with being on the street. These guys just wanted to make contact with me, and they were trying to create a problem. And I'm pretty sure they were probably upset because they didn't get it.
Never usually have any issues with this at all, and then usually the cones are further out for whatever reason they're moving today, but yeah, I know. So it's still the same thing.
So I let him know that I never usually have an issue with it. He pretty much ignored that. So at this point, he's telling me that in the future that he will enforce the rules, which was probably pertaining to giving me a citation. And then he pretty much insists that I give him my information, and he gives me his little notebook, which normally they'll just take it and write it down. He wrote down the name, and then he had me put my date of birth on there as if he couldn't do it himself. Playing tricks on me, really. He asked me the same question twice just to see if I would say something different, but we all know that old cop trick. So he's writing my name down, he's spelling it out, and he knows how to spell my last name, Bradshaw.
No, it's fine. No, it's all good. I let him know my name. It's okay.
And then he acts like he can't put my date of birth down, so he has me put it down as if maybe I don't know how to put my birthday down, but he couldn't do it. He did everything else. Why am I writing my birthday on here?
No, I got it. I'm here to respect all rules that we enforce. So.
You wrote down my first and last name, but you can't write my birthday on the notepad? For reals?
Well, I move back and forth. I'll probably move down there to that little slab so I got a little bit more room. But yeah, so. No. I seen the guy down there, so I figured something was up. So. Yeah, we have
So at this point, it's pretty much it. I went ahead and asked him if he knew anything about the board meeting today with Nanos, and I just want to see if I could hear that.
What do you think about the board meeting today? What do you think about the board meeting today?
I said, what do you think about the board meeting today? He said, honestly, I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what happened. Not that he's going to tell me, not that he's obligated to tell me. I just figured I'd ask. But that was my experience at Nancy's today. That was pretty much it, based on my experience there. Somebody had emailed me pretty much just giving me some insights, letting me know, like, hey, Juice, next time you should exercise your rights, and ask them to cite that law. So I really appreciate that. And anybody else, feel free to email me if you know anything rights-wise. I know somebody mentioned JLR being a good person for that, so definitely maybe you have to reach out to him for some just to get a little education on how to talk to a police. I've always watched so many videos on YouTube when there's these people or guys, girls interact with police, and they know the book. But it would be good to learn, certain sections of the laws and, just learn the law in general. So I appreciate that you reaching out. I believe she was a former dispatcher who reached out to me and told me pretty much to stand my ground for the most part. A lot of these guys in badges abusing their authority. They abuse the power that they have because they have a badge. Shameful incident today that I occurred, that I experienced today. I mean, I feel like I was harassed this time. The first time it happened, I didn't really feel like I was harassed or being bothered because I decided to do something dumb and use the porta potty. And then today, I did nothing wrong. I was on the street a little bit, and I wasn't, blocking any traffic or anything like that, but they felt the need to approach me and have a conversation. So that was that, guys. That was that. We live to hang out at Nancy's another day. And I don't think moving forward we'll ever be kicked out, because I will never give them a reason to. Anyways, I have one more thing I wanted to cover before I go. There was something, or another video I wanted to watch. I really don't know what happened in that meeting. I really don't. I'm hearing there's another meeting, but I only heard like 2 people speak. I know there's some issues going on with Cross, because Cross decided to speak out. So I know he was at risk for losing his job from what I saw. I don't know. I thought Cross was retired, but apparently not. It looks like he's somewhat still active, I guess, apparently, according to 857. I was watching and listening to him earlier based on Cross. But as far as the meeting, I really don't know what took place. I'm trying to figure out what I was going to watch and share with the stream here tonight, though. Sego says, just consider those neighbors are totally not used to having media around. Yeah, it seems that way. But they could just at least act like they care. They could at least have a little bit of empathy for those are the ones that find themselves angry because we're there. Fiona says, I cannot wait for the truth to come out about Nancy. I couldn't agree more. I can't wait either, if we ever get the truth. I got faith that we'll at some point it'll come to an end, and we'll get some type of justice and some type of perp, maybe even Nancy. Some type of something, because we haven't got nothing yet. Blonde says also they think they are tired of people being on their streets, so they are going to harass you and tell you stop. Well, one thing they should take into consideration is the fact that I will not be there forever. This case is not going to go on forever. At some point in time, it's going to come to an end. At some point in time, I got to stop going there. Because something else is going to move me somewhere else. Or we just might decide to do something else along the way. But it's just bothering to me that they're just coming up to me with no probable cause to really even make contact with me for anything, really. I did nothing. I didn't do nothing wrong. I really feel like the next time I go, I'm going to put my tripod on the road. Not to cause any trouble, but I just thought that was wrong. And there's nothing that really cites a law that from what I've heard, saying that you can't have your tripod on the road. Or specifically an object or thing. Chrissy says it's a power play. Yeah, I think so. I really do. Judy says they were hoping to run your name and find a record or something to use that for an excuse to allow you to go there. Excuse to not allow you to go there. Excuse me. Yeah, I think so. But why would I be making contact with the police and going out to places where I could potentially make contact with a police officer with a record? That would just be the most dumbest thing. Anyway, says Sue Ellen just jealous of attention Nancy has received. Man, I hope not. I really do. Orange cones are more in the way than your foot. Yeah, but the thing is, someone actually moved them over today. Like, they moved them out of the road. And that's smart of Criminal Network, because once we get there, he normally moves them out, so we have a little bit of space with oncoming cars. Carol says they're trying to intimidate you. Oh, yeah. I think I read that, or something similar to that. Yeah, they don't want me there. I mean, it feels like that, right? They don't really have much respect for what we come out and do. Nicole, it's weird to me. Nicole says it's weird to me, Annie and Tommaso in the beginning hiding their faces. Why are they doing that if they are innocent? Yeah, why are they hiding their faces? I brought that up the other day. I don't get it. I don't know what made them hide behind the camera. Maybe they're just not used to media attention, media attention, and they don't want to be criticized. But at this point, we weren't even that far for there to be much criticism. I think we were just in that first week when we saw Tommaso and Annie covering up their face. And I thought I had a picture of it, so I was looking for it. I could have sworn I had a picture of Annie and Tommaso. Outside the home of their own house. I think it was in front of their own house at that point. Covering their face, but I guess I don't have that photo no more. Drex says I wouldn't put your tripod on the road. Don't give them any reason to harass you. Keep your chair and tripod on the shoulder of the road. Yeah, but I just felt like I was bullied. And why would I let some cop just come through and tell me to do something? I'm, for one, not in the wrong end, but tell me to not do something, being that he's been surrounded by the neighborhood many times that I've been there. So why address it now? If you've passed several other times and you're aware of how we set up there and where we sit exactly. They've upped the patrolling in that area. So why all of a sudden now, I know you've been patrolling unless they haven't been patrolling, but why now? Like, it's not making any sense. And at the same time, I'm going to keep it classy either way. I'm not going to even let it get to me. I probably won't. I'll probably just sit on the side of the road like you're saying and stay on the shoulder and not even touch the road at all. The lady walking with her camera was more in the road than you were. Yeah, wasn't she? See what they say, when you set up completely off the road, next time they will have something new. It seems that way. It really does.
It's over, so I know what I'm looking at. Excuse me. It's from a lawyer's office. Frazier, Ryan, Goldberg, and Arnold, LLP. They're out of Phoenix, so he didn't even
so
hire
I think 857 had went on to talk about who was it? I think it was Cross. I think he said that Cross was at risk because he pretty much spoke about the sheriff, and I think you're not allowed to do that. I mean, he did. But for whatever reason, let's just listen to this because it makes more sense when we listen to it versus me telling you.
To note that ARS 11253 does not authorize an unlimited inquisition. Rather, Sheriff Nanos is only obliged to report on those matters connected with the duties of his office. The sheriff's duties are defined by ARS 1144-1. They include keeping the peace, arresting and detaining those suspected of criminal activity, preventing and suppressing riots or insurrection, securing county courthouses, overseeing and operating the county jail, and effectuating service of process. That is all. CARS 1144-1. The sheriff's statutory duties are distinct from those of a sworn peace officer regulated by the Arizona Peace Officer Standards and Training Board. So this is a snarky response from a lawyer in Nanos's behalf. Let me see what the comments are saying.
Nanos is getting sued by several people, by the way. I don't think it's looking very good for him. I mean, he's got lawsuits to deal with, not just, getting fired, but I mean, he's got more on his plate than we believe. You heard the lady in the beginning of the stream. She was talking about all of the things that he faces, and it's a lot. It's a long rap sheet for sure.
He's basically saying, you guys, nobody can get him. He's basically above the law. That's what this is that's what I'm guessing. All right, here we go. We're going to continue this. The distinction is significant because it confirms the sheriff's employment history is irrelevant to the performance of his duties as an elected official subject to oversight by the Board of Supervisors. Likewise, given testimony in a civil lawsuit and managing the department's website are not among the duties of his office. Nevertheless, in interest of transparency and in the spirit of cooperation, the sheriff has authorized me to respond to the board's questions as follows. Number one, the circumstances of Sheriff Nanos' departure from the El Paso Police Department. All right, here's the response.
Hey, Shannon, big welcome.
Sheriff Nanos resigned from the El Paso Police Department in 1982. At that time of his resignation, he held the rank of corporal. His resignation came in the wake of a dispute, shocking, with a supervisor over the towing of vehicles. The supervisor wanted to impose a 3-day suspension for an insubordination. Sheriff Nanos appealed that, recommended discipline to the chief, who found in the favor of the supervisor. Rather than accept the 3-day suspension, Sheriff Nanos offered to resign in lieu of discipline. The chief accepted his offer, and Sheriff Nanos resigned. Number two, the sheriff dates of employment as reflected in application mirror.
So really, in other words, Sheriff Nanos quit his job so that way his record wouldn't follow, but in reality, it still did. Somehow, some way, it still did, regardless if it wasn't actually on his actual record. But the fact of the matter is, it was documented, and the proof is in the pudding.
Materials, resumes, and prior testimony. All documents Sheriff Nanos submitted to the county when he applied show his dates of employment with the El Paso Police Department were from 1976 to 1982, which is accurate. For the board's reference, I have attached a copy of the resume Sheriff Nanos submitted as Exhibit 1.
It's crazy because if you think about it, in those times, you could get away with stuff a lot more easier than you can now. At least I think so. It's just gotten way harder in this time to get away with things. So you would think he would have gotten away with these things at those times. It's a long time ago, 1982.
Some time ago, Sheriff Nanos was alerted that the department's website incorrectly stated he was employed with the El Paso Police Department 1976 to 1984. Upon learning of the error, Sheriff Nanos immediately instructed staff to correct it. Since then, all staff have been instructed that any biographical data about the sheriff include in public-facing communications must be reviewed for accuracy and approved by his office prior to publication. Number 3, the sheriff's prior disciplinary history, including suspensions. First, I must reiterate that the sheriff minimal disciplinary history is irrelevant to the performance of his official duties. The sheriff was subject of robust public scrutiny during the election, and the public records include information about his decorated career as a sworn peace officer. Armed with this information, the voters of Pima County elected him as sheriff. Whatever the sheriff did or did not do before being elected is necessarily unrelated to his performance of the duties of his office. Notwithstanding the impropriety of this question.
Just says, I wonder how he obtained his Corvette. Yeah. It's beyond that, though, and it's, you know what? The even more interesting thing is, we obviously know that Nanos wants money, but is there a chance that he could have gotten something from this had he, been in contact with whoever the perp was? Is there a possibility that Sheriff Nanos knows the perp? And he's trying to stop investigators from getting further and figuring this out because he doesn't want the world to reveal what's really going on? Is there that possibility? I think so. And the fact that he's so money hungry, from what I can see here, it just might be. It just might be. Not saying it's Sheriff Nanos, just speculating and putting a theory out there.
The sheriff has authorized me to respond as follows. While employed with the El Paso Police Department, sheriff was subject to various disciplinary actions, which include counseling, reprimands, and suspensions. That discipline and the actions that gave rise to it happened more than 4 decades ago. The sheriff has little specific recollection of those events. However, the sheriff notes that when he applied with the county in 1984, he was subject to a standard background check, which includes completion of the county job application, interviews of his past employers and personal references, an oral interview, a psychological evaluation, and polygraph testing. Moreover, before he became a certified peace officer in Arizona, his fitness to serve and employment history.
Jennifer says, dude, I think it's the HOA Sue Ella trying to get the land on the house. Man, imagine that. That would be a surprising turnout. Is Tommaso a sus? Could be. It could be a possibility that he is a suspect. I would like to know what he was doing there the day he was walking around with the police. And I think it might have been Criminal Network who saw him there. I'm not too sure exactly who it was. I want to see if I could pull up that video just real quick, because I just didn't like the way he was walking around the house that day. I don't know if I have that video. I just wanted to take a quick little glance at it real quick. Nah, but JLR had it on his stream. I just didn't like the way he was walking. It was just like this kind of like gangster, thuggish kind of walk, like, or I'm like a badass type of vibe. I don't know it was just an odd walk. There's certain ways that I would expect a teacher to carry themselves. Not that there aren't some teachers out there that are real hip to certain stuff and they got like a hip hop vibe, or you know, they got a hood background. You know, I guess that's the best words I could put it in. They come from a rough background, you know, and maybe that's where Tommaso came from. I don't know where he's from in Italy or where exactly he's from, I guess. But maybe he grew up around thugs in Italy, because he was sure walking like one when we seen the FBI and him go by Nancy's, I think about a month and a half ago or so.
Were thoroughly reviewed by the ALEOAC at every step in the hiring process, and the sheriff was truthful and forthcoming. Last, I am aware media reports suggesting Sheriff Nanos was somehow dishonest in sworn
I don't know why my chat is not working. It's kind of bothering me. My chat should be working here on
deposition testimony he gave in the matter of Cross versus Nanos. Not so. In that deposition, the sheriff was asked, "Have you ever received disciplinary as a law enforcement officer?" He responded, "Yes." In a follow-up question, he was asked, "Did you ever?"
Pablo says, I have a question. How could I find a police? You mean find a police report that's been filed at 7 p.m. on January 31st when Nancy was supposedly eating dinner and playing games? Nanos said they went there Saturday evening. Good one. I think you could go down to public records to get the records, if that's what you're pertaining to, how you could get what was pretty much put on paper. Jeanette says, I'm addicted to this case. I couldn't agree more. I'm highly addicted myself. Wish I had a lot more insights and we weren't just having, small discussions or having to speculate so much. I mean, I just hope that at some point, really soon and not in a long time, we'll actually get some progress. Because from where we stand right now, it just seems like there's none. So I'm just hoping moving forward there's actually progress in this case, because I'm really I've been feeling like that, and it just still hasn't changed. I still feel like it's cold. Dee Dee says, I think Cameron has something to do with it. Dang. I don't know why I'm not leaning in the Cameron direction, and if it was Cameron, he would have to have some type of, he would have to hire somebody. I mean, Cameron, that definitely wasn't him at the porch. Could he have played a role on the inside? Halana, thanks so much for subscribing to the channel. Much love, man. Big salutes to Halana. If I said that name correctly, I'm bad with names, so forgive me. and poetry, spells, and I don't know if I can pronounce that. Oh my God. Incantation? I don't know what you're trying to say. For pagan worshippers? What is that? Man, you see, you're just talking too big vocabulary words for me. Jennifer says something about Anne's poetry. I don't know what she's referring to exactly. I don't know about anything about Annie's poetry. I just know that it's dark. Coffin Daffer tries to back her up a lot on that, saying that it's nothing wrong with it. It's not bad. It's very great. She's published. I don't know what to think about the poetry because I haven't really read it. I probably wouldn't understand it. David says, you sure are crushing it with the new subs lately. Congrats, man. What's up, man? We're growing a bit. I mean, it's not a whole lot. Lately, it's been pretty decent, though. I can't complain. Jamie says, I think the whole family is strange. Yeah, I agree. I feel like everyone's been hard to believe. Like, I don't trust anyone. And not to throw the family under the bus, but I don't know why certain behaviors aren't questioned. It's hard to monitor certain behaviors because we really haven't been able to see much footage or, any footage since this case has gone on, except for the time when they did the ransom letter, reaching out to the perp. That was the only time we were able to kind of observe Cameron and Annie, and then we saw them coming up to the house a couple times, maybe once, but it really wasn't enough to read signs as far as behavior changes. That's the thing for me. So it kind of makes it difficult to judge what's different or what's changed amongst Tommaso, Annie, and Cameron. I respect the fact that Savannah had to get back to work. I just don't know. I just feel like she could have had a lot more time. And I just feel like the family could definitely do a whole lot more as far as being involved in making the effort to try to find Nancy. I mean, maybe the family has come to terms that she's no longer here, meaning that there's nothing else left to do besides let the FBI do the work and find the perp. Nina Bronx, big welcomes. Good morning. Inmate says Savannah got as far away from Annie as possible. It seems that way to me. I mean, she talks highly of Annie, so it's hard, which makes it more difficult to question whether or not they really actually have a good relationship or not. 857 should be leading the protest at the sheriff's office. Yeah, man, 857 decent, man. He's pretty good. Not even decent, he's good. He's been doing it for a while, too.
Received discipline that rose to a level of a suspension. He responded no. Bad faith media reports have divorced this testimony from its context to suggest Sheriff Nanos was untruthful about his disciplinary history with the El Paso Police Department. But context does matter. Both immediately before and immediately after the question about whether he had ever been suspended, Sheriff Nanos was questioned about the Arizona Peace Officers Bill of Rights. As you know, the Peace Officers Bill of Rights details the substantial and procedural due process rights afforded to Arizona law enforcement officers. It is 100% correct that Sheriff Nanos was never suspended during his 4 decades of decorated and faithful service with the Pima County Sheriff's Department. However, Sheriff Nanos was suspended more than 40 years ago
And
while
anything that happened on
employed
that deck.
at the El Paso Police Department. In context of this live deposition, Sheriff Nanos did not understand the question related to discipline with a different agency not governed by the Arizona Peace Officers Bill of Rights. In reviewing the transcript shortly after his deposition, Sheriff Nanos spotted the misunderstanding and properly notified his attorney. For the board's reference, I haven't attached a relevant excerpt from this deposition. Wow, this is long. All right, topic number 2, the Lappin and Cross disciplinary actions. Before responded substantially, I must note that Sergeant Cross and former Lieutenant Lappin have filed lawsuits against the sheriff in connection with the discipline they received following sustained findings of misconduct. Both lawsuits are ongoing. Because this topic touches on active litigation against the county, any discussion about it should take place in executive session. Moreover, the sheriff must be mindful of his impact his public statements in response to this inquiry could have on the litigation. I am quite certain the board would not wish for the public nature of its inquiry to create potential liability for the county in these cases where none currently exists. In addition, personal matters are typically confidential, and it would be appropriate to discuss the allegations or findings against former Lappin, Lieutenant Lappin, and Sergeant Cross, nor the department's internal investigation processes. In this public forum, not with these considerations, the sheriff has authorized me to respond as follows. Let's check the comments.
Man, 857, that Pepsi looking real good right now. I might have to just grab me one myself. Just if you guys want to check that out, that's 857 Tucson. He's always talking about the case and covering the case. He was talking about that board meeting and pretty much what had happened to Cross, because Cross was pretty much getting in trouble for talking down. So just to sum it up, talking bad about the sheriff. I guess if you are within the Pima County, you have to really be careful what you say. So they're trying to give him a way to just readdress it. If he's able to, because he's allowed to do what he's doing, obviously, but it's just, I guess, certain ways that things were worded. And then there were also things that he was supposed to do that he didn't do. He just kind of just continued what he was doing. So that's pretty much the incident with Cross. I mean, just to kind of sum it up, but I'm glad the guy was able to keep his job. I was under the impression that he was no longer active at all. So, yeah. As far as what happens to Nanos, guys, I don't know. I don't know what happens from here. It's going to be a while. That's what I do know. I know it's going to be a good while before we really figure out what the hell is going on with Nanos here, or what's going to happen. Because obviously we're now waiting for another meeting, but at one point in time, are they going to actually update us on whether or not those questions were answered to their liking? That's what I really want to know. Like, what are they looking? Do they have the questions? Or were they turned in? I don't know. I gotta watch that whole thing because I haven't watched it yet.
Deferring to, since their messaging was like that, they probably know more than we know, because we weren't given a whole lot that says this guy has empathy. Unless you're seeing. So what are you seeing?
Well, I want to put him up on the screen, and I apologize. I can't believe I didn't have Porch Guy more.
Caption says, imagine not doing anything to find her. Yeah, tell me about it. I just wanted to show this real quick because Coffin Daffer was kind of talking a little bit about the family and what they think about the family. They don't believe that it really had anything to do with money, I guess, necessarily. Or just watch the video. Just watch the video. Maybe not spoil it. Just let y'all
Readily
hear it. I'm not going to
available.
play the whole thing, though.
That's all right. Everyone knows what he looks like.
And everybody says, Jen, you're clicking. So again,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry
like
to
Cross.
click.
Cross a good guy for sure.
But let me I want to get him up here because, and I thought I actually wanted to show the video, but let me at least get him up here. Ah, Porch Guy, where are you? I obviously have way too many videos of Porch Guy. And they're at the bottom. Sorry, everyone. Here we go. This is the one I wanted. Sorry, apologies. So the reason, a couple of things that I was reading into it, and I agree with you, though, that they have.
Wait, hold on. I got to read this comment. Speaking of comments, man, it reminded me. Shouts to everybody commented on the videos. I appreciate all the people who have came and stopped by. I try to read them all. I actually do read all the comments. I try to heart them all. Some of them I reply to. So, yeah, shouts to everybody leaving comments. Drop a comment on the video if you feel like you didn't get to say something. I'll try my best to reply. Like the video, by the way, if you're tuning in. Like I said, we didn't have too much to discuss tonight, but I did want to get on for a little bit just to really talk about what's new and what happened earlier at Nancy's for the most part. Nothing too crazy. I got to work in like 4 hours, so I know I won't be on too much longer. Yeah, my man Nanos drives $100,000 Stingray. I don't know it was a Stingray. Wow, that's even beyond just a simple Corvette. Crazy. Foams, shouts Foams, man. Much love, man. We appreciate you tuning in. He says, shout me out, Juice. Anytime, man. Anytime, man. Cereal chillers. Mary, big welcomes. I'm drinking Pepsi Max Cherry. I put a 24-pack in the drinks fridge. Dang, you're making me real. I'm thirsty right now, too. A Pepsi sounds real nice. I'm questioning whether or not that I even have any left, though. That's the question. The kids drink them all.
Have so much more than we have. All those things you named could also be why they believe this. But
and maybe they have much more. I think they might just have a little bit more leakage. And when you don't have much, you got to go on what you got. So that's why maybe. I'm in a big world of maybe on a lot of stuff.
But for me, a couple of the things that really stuck out, the number one thing was his lackadaisicalness in
100%.
His entire approach to this thing. This wasn't like anything you would normally see where it's a blitzkrieg, get in there, rip off the thing, bust open the door, grab what you're going after. And
there's no behavior spike whatsoever.
Yeah, none.
Very
fluid. Looks like he's picking daisies, and later we see him picking vines.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't think anybody's going to get him. He's absolutely, and so that made me, and I still say this, there's a familiarity beyond just the days that we know, and we know this from Savannah. I'm going to put this up on the stage. There is beyond these dates that, in other words, January 11th, the 31st, and then obviously the operation was on the 1st. But this isn't just about his site surveys to see what was going on at that time frame, those times of the nights. No. This seems like so familiar, so intimate with the setting that he's comfortable. Mm-hmm. We're comfortable whenever we're someplace we understand.
Mm-hmm. And he also wasn't. And the other thing I noted too is, like normally when you have someone come on your front deck and you have a ring cam or a Nest cam of some sort, it goes off. He never was startled by anything or anyone the entire time either. There's never a pause in anything that happened on that deck. And on that porch, and that was also really striking to me. Is like nothing rattled him, nothing made him. He was never uncomfortable once walking that entire thing.
No, and he expected it, right? I can't remember whether you and I talked about this, but when he was likely seen on the 11th, without the backpack, without the gun, the other photo, it really, to me, I think that's such a big risk to take to possibly be caught on the 11th, or maybe that was the 31st. We don't know, but at a different time, that it's absolutely a secondary risk. In the crim world, when we're getting ready to do a takedown, and in your world, I would believe.
Forgive me, guys. I had to go get a drink. I was super thirsty. I didn't have no Pepsi, man. Oh man.
When you're getting ready to go to a particular
Kind of
area,
hurt.
we always hated doing the site surveys and hated going there because we're like,
Then rehearse.
we don't want to. We have to rehearse, but I was always so fearful with each practice, with each site survey, that somebody would catch us and we'd get caught, and get made, and something would change.
I just, for whatever reason, I feel like Google had a hard time getting the more footage, but at the same time, I thought the same way. I was like, you know, if Google was able to reach this deep and dig this up, they were definitely able to dig up more. But I'm at a point where I question whether or not there's even more footage at all. Because, I mean, I feel like they would have reached out at some point. If they need... And this is why I feel like there's a possibility that they have a suspect. Because if they would have reached out... well, I feel like they would have reached out if they needed more help from the public. And they probably would have released more. Maybe not. A lot of times they say when the FBI goes quiet, it's good. That means that they're cooking up something, that they possibly had something. But for this particular case, it feels like silence has just led up to more frustration, being that a lot of us feel like we're holding our breath right now. Like at this point, nothing's happening. Like we just feel like nothing's going to happen at this point. I feel like we're coming to realization that it's becoming a cold case. This case is currently right now cold, even though in reality it's not actually cold. It's cold. There's nothing really that leads me to believe that it's still, and really in reality it is. It is. We still got stuff to work on and look forward to. We're still waiting. It's a waiting game. We're waiting on the DNA. But I think once this all goes through, and let's just say perhaps it amounts to nothing, we're all going to lose our chops for sure. I think we're all going to feel like it's really actually cold. I think that's going to be that official, nail in the coffin. Like I think that's going to be that it's just going to really overwhelm us at that point. If we don't get a lead moving forward with this DNA, oh my God. With both of them, once we determine both of them, whichever direction it goes first. I even think with just one, once we rule out one, and it's not what we're looking for, oh man, that's going to hurt. Then what though? Then what?
And so it's a big risk, but to your point, and I believe you made this point before once, Robin, is but this made him better for the time of the op.
Yeah, no doubt. And the fact that he's so comfortable with not being caught, to me, said he's done this before, not just here. He's done it before somewhere else because he hasn't been caught before. In other words, he's not having alerting behavior because he's done this before, not been caught.
I can't do Coca-Cola. I can, but it's not as good as just like simply Pepsi. I like some Coke. I used to only drink Coke, but for whatever reason, I've been on a Pepsi tip lately for sure.
So that's the other thing too. When you're then do your concentric circles about how many other homes or individuals are targeted. I mean, that's why you keep bringing in all this different analysis based on what you're observing from one individual. It just makes it really interesting. It makes it because his behavior really stands out from anyone else we've ever seen before. Not because it's so diabolical or complex or he looks professional. No, it's because he's so comfortable with what he's doing. I've never seen it to that level.
How about this too? With and this is something that makes me think he hasn't done this before, but I want to bounce this off you.
Okay.
To me, it looks like he has double gloves.
Yeah.
And it looks like his glove size is way bigger than his hand. It's like when
I agree. Like the glove, I'm sorry, not the glove. The case is not cold. I'm not saying it's cold at all. I'm just saying that it feels that way for the most part. And I just think we all have our fingers crossed at this point. And like CC Moore said, it's probably going to take a few months before we actually can determine whose DNA that was in Nancy's that the sheriff had found. I would not be surprised if we come to find out that DNA was maybe even planted there, or it was never real actual DNA. Like, let's just say, for instance, that hair is fake. Will they be able to tell that once they run tests on it, whether the hair is real or fake? Did Nanos really actually, did his team actually get, or detectives, I don't know who discovered this DNA, but did they actually get DNA? Was this part of the crime staged? Did Nanos stage this part? Did he really, was the DNA, was the hair that was found really there? I don't mean to twist y'all all up and have you thinking, but no one is to be trusted in this case. Nothing will really surprise me anymore at all.
get gloves that are, if I don't get small or extra small, those mediums, you know, I got crinkles and wrinkles and I can't grab things as well. And it made me think, and I don't think I've ever run this by you, but I truly believe the reason he grabs the vine, because remember, I'm an Occam's razor, I'm a pragmatist. I don't go with all this other stuff. I think it was because, and I bring this to your attention, I think he was having trouble gripping that slippery plastic camera because his gloves were overed and they were the wrong size. And as he's grabbing it, so he said, oh, crap. And he goes and he grabs those vines that would allow for grip. And I base that in part on, look at the holder for the camera. I don't know if you can see it there, but there's actually, the vines are embedded. They got stuck on the sides. So that's why I don't think he was waving it to cover himself, because you could just put your hand up. Look,
that makes sense. No, I'm with you on that one. I think that makes much more sense.
Yeah, I think he grabbed it, and that's why you see them stuck.
So here's why I think that makes sense, because had he cased the house, which we know he did, you know, he knew that Ring cam was there, or the Nest cam, and he saw it before, he saw it then. So, you know, because the other thing too is, if you know it's not working, or you know you're going to take it down, why would you even bother covering up? So, you know, part of that thing there. But if your plan was to take it down, but you actually hadn't taken it down before with those specific gloves, in other words, he was able to do everything but rehearse actually removing it with those very same gloves. And when he's actually faced with the attempt of trying to do it and it fails, you got to improvise on the scene. And so he grabbed something he could grip it with. That kind of makes a lot more sense to me than he thought he was going to cover it up, because that makes no sense, because you're not covering anything up.
Yeah, what I thought was the reason why he was using the strub was to pry it off, to somehow try to pry it off by putting the strub in between the actual bracket and somehow prying that Ring camera off, not having the knowledge of how a Ring camera comes off, and perhaps just maybe even leading up to doing this, you know, considering it was probably staged, why not Google it on how to take a Ring camera off? It's actually really simple once they tell you how to break it down. And I know how to take it off. I know some of them, or most of them, probably come with a pin, as I think Ashley Banfield was the one who described it, that releases it. But I don't know. I think just knocking that thing off would have been pretty easy for me. Although maybe they were just concerned about making noise. I'm not too sure. I still think there's a possibility that that could be Luke's hand, or him. Maybe not though. It's the hand for me that throws me off with Luke, but who knows? Who knows? Who's to say?
Stupid. I don't think this is a bright person, but he's definitely not a stupid person. Well, I think he's kind of stupid, but I like your theory on it. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we'll see if I end up being right or wrong down the road when hopefully this case comes more to light.
And especially if you say you can see. I'm looking if you can definitely see branch debris on the side of that would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
Oh, you can. It's up in the for the viewers.
Is that what's on the upper left?
Yep.
I think I had missed a comment. Michelle says, I want to see the footage after he gets it off the camera holder when it was actually damaged, because the video we see is spliced. It's not the only video they got. I think there's a slight little other part where we get a look at his face. I'm not too sure. I can try to go to the actual video on the website. Because I think it was the FBI who released it.
That's that branch debris. And I think he's, forcefully trying to get a hold of it and rip it off. And
Sherry says he came from the front of the house and walked casually with the plant and used it effectively. Also, I noticed his sleeve at the muscles are baggy, not tight like those muscular men. Maybe. It's hard to tell. It really is, because I don't know. It's just really hard to tell. Hard to say. At least for me it is. I can't call it. MA says, Juice, what about someone who recently invested heavily into door company or door camp company? Their stock has shot up since this mess. Like you saying that, what about them maybe possibly being the suspect? Maybe I'm just slow right now because I'm getting tired. Capture says that was a highly sophisticated operation. The whole crime scene doesn't even matter anymore. But who was it, and what made them so sophisticated? I feel like whoever that was definitely had a police background or some type of criminal background. But with experience. I just, for whatever reason, my mind tells me that the only, and there's people out there, but the only people that, for me, could have pulled this off would be the sheriff. Not saying it's Nanos, but someone in the department. Wow, Capture says he thinks it's a military operation. It's definitely a warning for sure. Man, oh man, what are we going to do, guys? What are we going to do? What a case. I'll continue to keep everybody informed and updated, guys. Like I said, I'll try to continue to push that public awareness out, put that public awareness out there, and just continue to cover the case, man. Find other things that we could do to help the case in the best way. There's just nothing happening right now, and it's unfortunate. We just kind of gotta buckle up and just go for the ride. Wait for the next thing to pop off. At this point, all we're waiting for right now, as far as the latest update, is with Nanos. And it's also sad to see the way Nanos is pretty much the attention is on him. It's like very, very rude, and I just really would love to know what the Guthries feel about Nanos. Not that it's going to be good on their behalf to state that. Somebody made a comment on Coffin Dapper stream too. I was trying to show that, but it's all right. We're getting a little too tired here. But they said, what makes the case? How are we helping the case by trying to get rid of Nanos? And I could answer that myself, just in just a few words. In a lot of words, or very few words. He's not helping at all. We're not getting any help from Nanos whatsoever. He's worried about other things. And his ego got right in the way of him making the right decision.
And some of that gets in there. He's not waving it. He actually, it gets stuck there because of the force he's using to snag it.
That makes so much more sense, Jen, because, you know, when you're looking at that for the first time, you're like, what does he really think he's going to cover with a branch? And he's already been caught on camera before, so it's not like you're going to cover it up and leave it because he's already on it. See what I mean? So I totally think that makes a lot more sense.
Streamers need to unite. That would be a good one. That would be a good one if we all did kind of reunite there in front of Nancy's to try to figure out a better way to push to put this case out there more. In other words. Guys, I want to thank y'all all for stopping by and tuning in. I got to get going. I have to work in the morning. I am super, super drained and tired from, being in here, there, and everywhere today. I was at Nancy's. I'll try to make it there tomorrow. If I don't make it tomorrow, just expect to see me there Thursday. It's not always easy to make way there. I'm more than likely going to go over there on Thursday. We'll see. Gut feelings can be strong. Yeah, I agree. Caption says, either way, whoever did it, the family knows, and they're hiding. They're aiding and abetting them. Sorry, I couldn't see that. They need to be held accountable. Whew. Investigate Nanos, I would say. Investigate Nanos. Someone that could pull off a high-profile crime like this either has a military background, a law enforcement background, some type of background that somehow revolves around crime. Otherwise, this would be something that was well thought through over a long period of time. There are certain things that are just not understandable that have happened in this crime, like blood on the porch. Not understanding where it leads, not knowing whether or not, if it led up to them getting in the car, like just not having any leads at all. That's the most interesting about this investigation is the fact that we got leads that don't lead up to anything. We just have clueless leads, all the way up to us getting a surveillance video. And still amounting to nothing. It's crazy to me. This just makes no sense. And a lot of us believe in the FBI's technology. We believe in the FBI in general. We know that they can do things that aren't normal. We know that they can pull off things that aren't normal. Not just based on their technology, but with other things as well. Check it out, Cherry. Yeah. It's kind of hard to hear me. I kind of talked about it tonight. But yeah, the cops pulled up on me again, and I got a warning once again for having my property on the street, a little bit of it, which was meaning the only thing that was the tripod. So check it out, guys. I will be going ahead and signing out for the night, though. I will see y'all later on. I know I'll probably be streaming tomorrow night, so inviting everybody to stop by and tune in tomorrow night. I will see y'all later, man. Y'all have a good night. Much love, y'all. Much love.